Hey guys, it's Denise with Lazy K Mountain Homestead. Welcome to my countdown to Christmas. Today we're going to make another cookie. Cookies are really popular at Christmas time, especially in our household. And I'm going to make a lemon shortbread. Another citrus cookie, but for us, again, citrus is part of what Christmas is all about. So this is a really easy recipe. You can make it up to 5 days ahead of time and leave it in the fridge, which is kind of nice. So if you're busy like most of us are, you can put it together one night after work and just stick it in the fridge and then, bake them on the weekend. So I thought you guys would like that recipe. So let's get started. We are going to need 1 cup of room temperature butter, and I am using salted. So that means I'm not going to put any salt in my recipe. And we always buy salted butter. That's what Willis likes. And let me see here. There it is. Sometimes it's hard to find those little tabs. Going to put it in my mixer. Now, yes, I'm using my mixer today because it is a lot of butter. And it is 3/4 of a cup of white sugar. So I want to make sure, bring you guys over here. I want to make sure that it is really combined well and nice and fluffy. And that's important with a cookie especially. So let me put this down here so you can see. I've got my mixer over here at the island. So hopefully this will work out. I'm going to go ahead and just mix up my butter first. And to that, I'm going to go ahead and add the 3/4 cup of white sugar. I'm going to go ahead and let that mix really well. And I'll probably have to scrape it down a little bit. Okay, also what we're going to need in the meantime, we're going to need the zest of 2 lemons, which I've already zested. And we are going to need 2 tablespoons of fresh lemon juice. Okay, let me go ahead and scrape this down once. I just like to do that even though I have the beater on the attachment. I call them beaters. I'm old school. The attachment that has the scrapers on the side, sometimes it still doesn't scrape it down all the way. All right, now to this, we're going to go ahead and add our vanilla. And we want 1 teaspoon of vanilla. And I'm just going to use the cap because that measures to 1 teaspoon. And we're going to go ahead and beat that again until light and fluffy. Well, today's been a beautiful day here in Tennessee. It is sunny, it is warm. I think it's almost 60 today, and my honeybees are out, and I am so excited. I always check on them, because you never know with honeybees. We've had some pretty mild winter so far. I know it's still technically fall, but we've had some cold days, and it was just nice to see them out doing a cleansing flight. Because these are bugs, and they'll take off if they don't feel good, safe, and they can die if they don't have enough honey stores. And mine do. I've looked in there, and they look like they've got enough to give to the winter, as long as it's not a really bad winter like last year, where I lost my bees. We had 3 days of -5 right at Christmas, and it was just horrible. And bees just can't take that kind of weather. Okay, so now we have got 4 egg yolks from 4 large eggs. And I'm just going to go ahead and put the mixer back on, and then I'm just going to add these one at a time so they are really well incorporated. This just ensures that they're all beat together really well. And mine are free-range chickens, and so this will be a really nice deep yellow, not quite orange. For this time of year, deep yellow I'm happy with. There's not a whole lot of bugs out there, but what they can get. During the spring and summer, they can get a lot of grasshoppers and all kinds of insects, and that is what makes the color of the yolk. If you have chickens that only eat feed, like when you get them from the grocery store, they're very light lemony yellow, and they're pretty too. But that's because they only eat feed. Okay, I think we're pretty good with that. Like I said, I'm going to scrape it down just to ensure that I've got everything mixing well. Okay, now to this we are going to add I've got the flour. Now it did call for a half a teaspoon of salt, but like I said, I used salted butter, so I'm not going to put that in there. And the reason you do want salt is salt enhances the flavor of your baking, so it's a very important component when you're baking. So don't omit it. It's something that you really need. Okay, now we are going to go ahead and add our, let me see, 2 tablespoons. Let me get this out. Now I juiced rather 1 lemon, and I got a lot of juice, and I knew I was going to have more than 2 tablespoons of that. So I'm going to go ahead and keep this for another recipe I've got. And yeah, I did have to zest 2 lemons, but I'm going to need this for another recipe. And if you don't have a recipe coming up with fresh lemon juice, I would go ahead and juice it anyways, and you can always freeze it in a baggie and stick it in your freezer if you're not using lemon. Or you can use it in your tea or something like that. So I'll set that back there. Okay, now I'm going to add the zest of 2 lemons. Now this is going to be lemony because you know when we made that orange cookie, we had 3 tablespoons, and that was almost 3 big navel oranges. So it's going to be really nice and lemony for this because that was orangey. When I think of citrus, I think of my family down in Florida. When I was a kid, I lived down there for quite a while. Dad worked on the space program back in the 60s. And I have uncles that still live down there. And they are Floridians, and they love it. It's a little hot for me. My friend Kathy that lives over on the next road, she's from Florida too. So Kathy, here's some more citrus for you. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and just add some of the 2.5 cups of sifted all-purpose flour. Just doing a little bit at a time so we don't have a cloud. I should have my guard over here, but it's over on the other side of the kitchen. I would have to jump over things to get there. Okay, let's go ahead and add the rest of that. It's really a pretty yellow cookie. Now, if you haven't had shortbread before, you guys need to try it. It's one of my stepmom's favorite cookies. If you've ever had a Lorna Doone cookie, that is, I believe, a Scottish shortbread, and she loves them. It's a real buttery, kind of a sandy cookie. It's very, when you break it or you put it in your mouth, it's very sandy, and is the texture. It's really nice. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and mix that all together. All right, we have all our ingredients. And what we're going to do next is we are going to get some plastic wrap. Make me some room. And we are going to roll this into 2 logs. Well, that's parchment. I don't need that. Plastic wrap. 2 logs. And you want your cookie, they'll be about this big around. If you've ever had let's see, Girl Scout cookie that's shaped like the Girl Scout badge, that is a shortbread. So if you guys are familiar with that and you've never had a shortbread, that's what you've got there. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and, actually I think I'm going to get my cutting board here. Just to have a little surface down here. I mean, I've got the counter, but I'd rather do that. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put half of my batter, my cookie dough, onto this. And I am going to, it's taken all I can do not to try this dough. I'm trying to be good. And I know a lot of people don't think you should taste things that have raw eggs, but you know, one of the pleasures of me when I was a kid was Mom giving us the beaters. My goodness, that was such a joy. All right, I'm going to go ahead and thinking, this is what the recipe says, but you know what? I know me, and I know I'll probably make a mess. So I'm going to go ahead and put some little bit, teeny bit of flour on here. And that way I can go ahead and roll out this into a log, and then I will go ahead and put it in the plastic wrap. Just try to give you guys a few little hints, because I know if I was trying to roll this on that plastic wrap, it would be all over the place. Okay, so we've got it in a ball, kind of in a oval, and we are going to roll this out, and I would say about 12 inches. Okay, so if you can see, that cookie, well, the cylinder is about that big around. So what I'm going to do now, and it'll spread, of course, when we go to bake it. We've got all those eggs in there. Yeah, that did nicely. And now we're just going to go ahead and put that there in our wrap. And we've got to stick it in the fridge for up to at least 2 hours. I don't want to say up to 2 hours, because you can actually put this in the fridge for 5 days. Now, if you wanted to make a different flavor, you could use orange and use the lime and the lime. I was thinking lime too. The orange zest and the orange juice. Okay. You can also just use vanilla or almond. This is a really versatile cookie dough. Get a teeny bit of flour. And you just want a teeny bit of flour. You don't want a lot. Just enough to where you can handle it. As you can see. Okay. There we go. And I'm going to roll this one. And this one I may have not, it looks like I didn't do it quite evenly, but that's okay. As long as I've got them rolled out about right, the same circumference or cylinder, that's all we need. Okay, and we're just going to roll that on there and roll it so you've got all that covered. And you want to make sure all your cookie dough is covered, because if not, it will dry in your fridge. Okay, there we go. My uneven logs, but that's okay. They're going to come out fine. So, like I said, I'm real. So we're going to stick this in the fridge, and I'll be back in a couple hours, and we will bake these. See you in a minute, or 2 hours. Hey guys, so we're back. It's been 2 hours, and I've had my shortbread in the fridge, and it is very hard because of all that butter. It's like a log. And I have my oven preheating at 375. So what we're going to do now is we're going to cut these in little medallions, and we're going to put them on our lined cookie sheet, and we're going to cook them for 15 to 18 minutes. So let me put this down. Go ahead and tackle this big long one first. All right. And I've got a very sharp knife. And I'm going to cut the end just so I have I want them all even. So I'm going to cut them about, about a 1/4 inch. So they're going to look like this. And we're just going to put them on our parchment paper. Now, if you have silicone mat, you don't want to have a greased cookie sheet because it does have a lot of butter in it. So if you don't have any of those things, just use your cookie sheet, ungreased. I'm pretty excited about these. Oh, they smell so lemony. And what I decided I'm going to do while they are baking is I am going to make a glaze for a drizzle over them with that lemon juice that I had left over. Just lemon juice and powdered sugar. I think that'll be really great. Kind of a sweet and tart together. So I'm going to get a lot of cookies out of this. I'm going to send some to my son in Montana. I've got a whole bunch of goodies already that we've been making the last couple days. I've got it all packed and ready to go tomorrow. And my grandson up there, Nathan, and our daughter Ashley in Kentucky, we're going to send her a little Christmas package too. In case she's watching, you're going to get some of these. So into the oven we're going to go, and it says 15 to 18 minutes. I'll check him at 15. I always like to check them at the earliest because you never know, you don't want them to burn. And they're not supposed to get brown or anything. They're supposed to just stay the yellow. That's the way shortbreads are. Okay, we'll see you in a few. Guys, I am back. I baked all the cookies. And the reason I didn't come in before was the recipe said 375 for 15 to 18 minutes. And I kind of questioned that in my head. And I'm glad I did because this is what they turned out the first batch. That's too dark. I mean, you can eat them. They're not burnt. But that's too dark for shortbread. So what I did was I turned my oven down to 350. I let it cool, and then I turned it on to 350. And I went ahead and cooked these for 12 minutes. And this is what your shortbread should look like. I don't have a convection oven, so if I had a convection oven, the shortbread would be this golden yellow color all the way. It wouldn't have that brown on the bottom. But that's fine. It's not going to bother us or the kids. But anyways, I just wanted to show that to you. And if you look really closely, you can see all of that zest in there. And I have tried one, and they are yummy. So what I'm going to do is I made my frosting, my glaze. And I used 1 cup of powdered sugar. And it was almost a tablespoon of that lemon juice left. So what I'm going to do is I am going to just dunk the tops or dip the tops just like this. And then I am just going to put them all on here. And I think they're going to be so pretty. And I think I'm going to go ahead and put some sprinkles on them. Now, you don't have to dip them. You can drizzle, and you don't have to use sprinkles. But I am going to go ahead and just see what that looks like. So I think it'll give it a real pretty Christmas look. Kind of like the Italian Christmas cookies, nonpareils. But I couldn't find them this year, so I had to just get regular sprinkles. But I think these are going to really turn out pretty. So here is your lemon shortbread with icing. And like I said, I have tasted them, so I'm not going to taste them on camera. I'm going to go ahead and just dip all of these, and then I'm going to put the sprinkles on. And I hope you have a good evening. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. I really appreciate it. I can't wait for Willis to get home tomorrow so he can taste test these. We've got a lot more coming, and thanks for sticking with us. You have a great evening. Bye.